you want to talk about feelings and
I want
emotions?
to talk about feelings. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say feelings, yeah. We need to talk exactly about our little box of feelings.
Why don't you explain the box of feelings?
The box of feelings. So, basically, from a young age, before we have a concept of what all of these feelings are,
Social conditioning.
exactly, we're given a box, which is our identification with ourself, or the creation of ego, basically. That
This is how you should react.
for me, as Anthony, this is your box. Your box is Anthony. So into this box
You
goes
have
all the feelings that come to you. So here's anger. You take it and you put it in your box.
when does
And
your
then-
anger? When do you have to pull the anger card?
Well, the anger has to exist. You have to be able to understand what anger is first. So you've got all these feelings that you're taught what all these feelings are. You fill your box up. So when you're older, you're
You
carrying
pull those
around your
cards.
box of you inside of you. And when something happens that
You
you're supposed to
pull.
get angry about, you open up your box and you pull out anger. And then you wave it around, basically. Wave it around.
And you throw
And
it
you throw
at
it
people.
at people. And you give it to them like, look at this. And you want to show it to them. You basically
You
take it out and
deserve
you're
the
like, "Look
anger
at this.
card right now from my
Look at
box
my
of
anger."
feelings.
Look at my anger. And you make it so real and shake it around and show it to them.
Or the happiness card.
Look at my anger.
You made me happy hands.
Oh, yeah.
Here's your card. Now
Exactly.
you own my happiness card.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that way.
Yeah, and then people want to take your love card. And they want to be the only one who has your love card. That your little love.
But you
is
gave
theirs.
that card to them.
And nobody else can have your love. Because you own it now. Like, that's theirs. It's not yours anymore.
And I thought I made you happy. And you're supposed to be happy. And the moment that you're not
I
happy
know.
because I'm making you happy, we both get in conflict. It's like, what happened with the happy card?
Well, you're the one that's making me happy or not. But that's not true. We're here to talk about all of that. That's not true. You didn't make me angry. You didn't make me happy. You didn't do anything. You existed. Whether or not you tried to impose that feeling on me, you didn't do anything. I did. I decided to bring up happiness, to bring up anger, to bring up whatever, to bring up love.
Your narrative of the box of
Yes.
feelings and emotions is what is making you ...
And that won't necessarily make sense to you until you're pretty far into your practice, because it feels like it is you, because you were told it was you. It's in your box, it's yours. But through meditation and practicing awareness and understanding where your emotions come from and why, you start to separate the box from yourself, and you're not the box anymore, and the feelings are not you anymore.
You don't have to pull the box because the box has to be dismantled and it has to be thrown away. And my understanding of feelings and emotions is that they're subject to your own upbringing, the way your parents raise you. Also, my understanding of emotion and sometimes feelings. To me, they're kind of like the same. They're at the same level. They are a sensation in the body, and there has to be a separation, at least within myself, for myself. That's what's healthy for me. I don't know how people experience jealousy. How do you experience jealousy? What do you feel jealousy?
Oh, even imagining what it feels like, I feel this like in the back of my spine,
Okay.
like, going down my throat, like this tightness and like
Oh, where do you feel
I
anger?
know, but what is it?
What do you
What
feel
is-
anger? It's a sensation.
It's not here, but I'm creating it in myself because
and it has been triggered by
my mind knows how to do it still.
It's so basically that back pain is being triggered by a thought.
Exactly.
So it's a sensation on your body.
It
So
is
what
a
do you feel?
sensation,
What do you
it's
feel?
a pressure, it's a
jealous?
feeling, it's in your mind. Like it's.
What do you feel? Sadness.
I'm at the point where I still I can still feel it and obviously know what feelings are like, but I can, even in my thoughts, I can create this feeling in myself just by willing it. And most people don't realize that's what they're doing. This is, I think, the biggest issue. It's not that you can or can't, it's that you're unconscious of these feelings in you. And that's why they're so strong and so hard to get over, because you don't realize that your mind is creating these feelings, and they're creating this tension in the body and all this everything else in the body. But once you start to become aware and practice awareness, you'll start to notice when the feeling's happening, and then you'll be able to trace back where that feeling came from and where inside of you it came from and why. And it's not just about the external stimuli, it's about the internal creation.
Therefore, it's important
Yeah.
to be careful with the words that we select to use with
Mhm.
other people,
Yeah.
because we are not in control. We are in understanding with how we feel.
Mm-hmm. And
Right.
we kind of become responsible for creating that in other people once we understand why and where it comes from, which is not necessarily fair.
Because I'm sorry, psychologist, but you are responsible for what you say, but you're not responsible for how the other person feels.
You're not supposed to have to be in true reality, but in this version of society, you're responsible for everyone else's reaction. But at the same time, that's the point of right speech, is that you're supposed to be thinking about what you're saying and everything and how it
Right
could affect
speech.
somebody's fragile little box that is them, because you can't tell them that they're not the box, even though they're not.
But also, if you're aware, you wouldn't like to hurt
Mhm.
emotionally or
Yeah,
psychologically.
and sometimes it's not your fault, which is hard.
But you
because
have to portray your reality and your truth.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't want to go and have a walk in the park, you just have to say no. If the other person
Yeah.
gets hurt, I mean, come on, seriously, you're gonna get hurt because the other person doesn't want to walk with you in the park.
Yeah.
You have to set your
I know,
your priorities right.
It doesn't stop the conflicts, but it can help you understand
You're
where
not
they
part
come
of the
from
conflict.
and
You're not part of the
separate you
conflict.
from it. Yes, exactly. But that's not just like doing whatever you want and acting like it's okay at the same time. It still has to be right thought, right speech, right action. Because if you're not making that sincere effort, then you might as
Sincere is
well
keyword.
be throwing it at them on purpose.
And that's the moment when you're like,
Yeah, then that reaction is almost what you deserve. It's kind of warranted, unfortunately. But that's
that's the way
not even
it
true.
is.
That's not even true. It's not even warranted. But that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna happen that way.
Do you think that if you practice understanding of the words, you can still experience? And you gotta remember when I say I hate my mom, and I do not believe in
He
God,
likes to say that.
because I think I think it actually pokes
Yeah.
people.
He likes to poke. Yeah.
It pokes people.
Well, that's one thing too. Is when you get spiritual and you see everyone else so stuck in their little box, you want to poke at them.
in
It
a
makes
way.
you want to poke at them.
In a way.
It makes you want to like see people react, just so you can like watch them and kind of like it's a little sardonic. I don't know. What's the right word? It's you get kind of like a little guilty pleasure out of like watching
Guilty
people
pleasure,
stuck in
which
their
is
little
not
box.
okay sometimes.
It's not necessarily. It's not right action, obviously.
It is
but-
not.
But that's kind of how ego works. When you first understand something, you want to practice it. So you'll sometimes want to poke people just to see. And if you are truly doing that from a place of understanding and awareness, once you poke them and they react, you can then say, "It's okay. It's okay." It's like it's all
And
right.
that's
I was
pretty
kidding.
convincing. It's
I
pretty
was
convincing.
kidding. It wasn't. It's not real.
So in essence,
Don't tell them you wanted them to react. They don't like that. But but just say, "I'm just kidding."
in
Okay.
essence, I think
Like, it's not
my
real.
understanding, feelings and
Yeah.
emotions are sensations triggered by thoughts that we believe.
Yes.
They are not. They're not thoughts that are real, because the only thing that is real is, once again, take a deep breath, to look around your back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ultimate reality. That the ultimate reality is what you are in. And if you're right now feeling angry for something that happened 3 years ago, I invite you to take a deep breath, look around in your back, and realize that feeling or emotion that you're feeling is nothing but a thought. And what we said about thinking is a lie. I'm not discarding what you feel as an empath or whatever you call yourself. It's a lie.
I know. It doesn't matter as much as you think.
It doesn't
does.
matter.
That's all.
What matters is that you can
okay.
feel sorry for the other person that is next to you, or you can just say, you know what, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Bring a different dimension of your so-called feelings
Yeah.
and emotions.
And like I said, you don't have to get to the point where you don't feel. You just have to be at the point where you
Oh, we
notice it.
feel.
Exactly.
We call it understand.
Because when you start to understand and be aware, anger arises, but you're not angry, and you notice it, and you're like, "Oh, this is anger," and you kind of enjoy it. It stops being the suffering anger that you used to have, that was your anger, and becomes the anger. It's like the anger's here. Like, oh, look at that, there's anger.
You welcome it,
It's like, oh, look at that, there's love. Oh, look at that, there's pain. Oh, look at that, there's pleasure. And
but you don't
you're
react to it.
aware. There's nothing to react to. It's just to observe, and that's awareness. Is that observing of that, everything that's coming and going.
and it's no longer an anger
It's
that
all
lasts
beautiful.
years.
Yeah.
It's an anger that only lasts until you
Exactly.
recognize it, and you take a different approach to it.
Yeah, without
because you
fuel,
fix it right
dies.
away.
Without fuel, it doesn't keep going.
Why? Because
It
a lot
just
of times
goes
you
away.
have sons, daughters, they
Mm-hmm.
hate their mom or dad for years, and it's not healthy. And it's not healthy because, first
Yeah.
of all, you are holding on something.
Yeah, and they probably haven't gotten to the root of why they're feeling that and really gone through that. And that's another thing that you can do in meditation. But I
Because
feel
you
like,
wouldn't you say that the feelings and emotions can become an addiction?
Oh, definitely. I think we did a really good job of talking about what we wanted to with all of that, though. So.